Super Bowl hangover.
Still look great.
Isotoner. Fallout continues this morning for the Clippers after they blew 3 chances to advance to their first Western Conference Finals. Let's dig in. So, a lot of blame to go around. A report yesterday that Paul George and Montrezl Harrell had a heated verbal exchange during this series. Montrezl apparently upset over a turnover that Paul George blamed on him. This all on the heels of a report from The Athletic that the arrival of PG and Kawhi last year caused some tension behind the scenes. Apparently, we all can't just get along. Brandon, was team chemistry the biggest factor in the Clippers not winning a title this season?
Yeah. Now we're getting to the root of these issues. Oh, a team down 3-1, they come back and win. Oh, we blame it on minutes. We blame it on we didn't have a raw speech. Now we're starting to see the root of these issues. When there's no chemistry, when there's guys in the locker room fighting, on the sideline fighting, it starts to tell a bigger story. Now, is it a huge issue that there was an incident on the sideline? No. This happens all the time. It happens every single game. Okay, you just got to watch a little closely. But what's bigger is what was said. What he said was, oh, you think you know everything. No one can tell you nothing. That's a big issue because now we're talking about the root and something that may been affecting this locker room since day one. You have a team that's allegedly embraced small ball and a new, not small ball, excuse me, but embraced load management and embrace something a little different approach than most teams. And then it seems like the locker room really didn't embrace this. So when you start to hear these rumblings, it makes you think, what else is going on? Because when you have a team with 2 superstars, 2 top 15 players in the NBA, and they lose to the Denver Nuggets, who I think is the better team, but I think myself and Nick were the only ones in America to pick them. You start to wonder what else is going on because it's more than just X's and O's. It's more than just, drawing up plays. So something else is going on here, and I think this story is still developing. So let's pay close attention to this.
You know what I always like in horror movies? The scary autopsy guy. When they have to go and they're like, what happened? And the guy's like some ghoulish figure and he's got his like butcher knives. Like, you're the autopsy guy? Aren't you supposed to be like a medical profession? That's what is happening to the Clippers. And the scary autopsy guy is Nick Wright. And he's carving up the Clippers' corpse with just joy. And with blunt instruments. So I'm going to give you a preview of how he's sharpening his knives.
Still morning time.
Doc's choke job. And he can't make rotation. And it's load management. And it's PG choking. And it's Jack Harlow. And it's Montrezl Harrell, can't guard Joker. And it's Kawhi went 6 for 22. And they went 0 for 0 in the fourth quarter. Paul George and Kawhi had 0 points. And he's just loving it. He's loving it. So before we just go crazy, and Nick is sitting there with his butcher apron totally covered in red, and he's like, goodness gracious, he's taking a real joy in this. Just remember, America, the autopsy that is being conducted with such joy is being done with a little LeBron crown on. All this Clippers slander you hear has a big dose of anger because poor Kawhi Leonard and the New Balance marketing executives put the tagline that said, "This is my city," and gave him a little crown keychain. That's it. And that has fueled Nick's fire. So go ahead. Let it burn, Nick. Burn it down. Go ahead. Here we go.
Okay, so listen, your analogy was almost great, Wilds, because had the Clippers lost in a 7-game war to the Lakers, you would have wanted an autopsy to find out why it went so poorly for them. But because they lost the way they did to the team that they did, if I am the guy in the morgue, I don't need to conduct an autopsy. They bring the body in, they're like, what do you think the cause of death is? And I'm like, I don't know, the giant gunshot wound? That seems like a good place to start. And the place to start with the Clippers is with the guy you mentioned, Kawhi Leonard. We are finding all these reasons to figure what could have possibly happened to the Clippers down the stretch of these last 3 games. Well, could it possibly be their best player stunk up the joint? Can we show what I thought was a hilarious and great tweet last night? I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw. Can we show that real quick? Because, the tweet's from me, but don't worry about that. Worry more about, look at the time score situation. That is the Clippers up 12, and look at Kawhi Leonard's stat line. At that moment in the game, Kawhi was playing great. The Clippers were playing great. He had 12 points on 9 shots. He finished the game with 14 points on 22 shots. That's 1 of 13 the rest of the way. We don't need an autopsy to figure out why they fell apart down the stretch of games 5, 6, and 7. You just got to look at this. Game 5 down the stretch, Kawhi played well, I'll give him credit. Game 6 down the stretch, Kawhi was very shaky, as was the team. And Game 7 down the stretch, he was awful. Why did the Clippers, why did they have the chemistry to go up double digits in 3 straight closeout games and then fall apart? Because of that. Because their best guy wore down. Because their best guy, whether maybe it was, you brought up LeBron, not me, but I'll continue it, Wilds. Maybe the pressure that's been on LeBron for 15 straight years that Kawhi was feeling for the first time in his career weighed him down far heavier than the crown that sits on LeBron's head weighs him down. I don't know. What I do know is we are trying to not Occam's razor this. Let's just go. The most obvious, simplest answer is probably the right one. Why'd the Clippers lose, Brandon? Their best player stunk late. And nobody wants to criticize Kawhi because you disagree? Then tell me. Then you tell me why they lost.
Talent only takes you so far. It reminds me a little bit of KD and Draymond Green in the Golden State Warriors. Talent only takes you so far because when things hit the fan, right? Chemistry is what you have to lean on because you start to think about, all right, this confrontation with my teammate on the sideline, but I don't want dinner to be awkward Friday night. We made reservations to this amazing steakhouse, and then you start thinking about the times where your wives booked a vacation for you for the off season. You're like, you know what? Things is tough right now in the locker room, but do I really want to go to Cabo with this guy and his wife and things being rocky? Let's just talk it through right now. Chemistry is everything. We saw LeBron do it with his teammates. You had Antoine on yesterday talking about the thing that he loved about LeBron is how he see AD at his house all the time and how he gets all his guys to buy into one thing. That is built off of the court. That is built off of the field. So chemistry, Brandon, we can't take that for granted. This is a big deal.
That's fine, but guess what? If it is chemistry, that's on Kawhi too. Because chemistry comes from the top down, the best player down. So, choice A or choice B, it's the same answer, Jenna.
Right. You'll find a way. You'll find a way to crush Kawhi.
If this is the team they bring back next year, though, there's going to be a lot of figuring out to do, switching gears. Hey, we may have figured out what's motivating Aaron